On March 5, 2018, the seventh round of NAFTA renegotiations concluded. The representatives of the United States, Canada, and Mexico admit that progress has been slow. The North American Free Trade Agreement is now the largest trade agreement. The NAFTA renegotiations began on August 16, 2017. The three countries had hoped to finish by the end of 2017. Instead, it looks like they will continue through March 2018 or even into 2019. The President Trump appointed United States Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer to appear for the United States. The talks follow through the Trump's executive order to renegotiate NAFTA signed on January 23, 2017. In his first 100 days, Trump threatened to withdraw from NAFTA if Canada and Mexico refuse to renegotiate. They are willing because the agreement is outdated. For example, it doesn't address internet commerce. It also needs to incorporate the environmental and labor protections that are inside agreements. The Trump administration wants to lower the trade deficit between the United States and Mexico. In 2013, Mexican President Enrique Peña Nieto allowed foreign direct investment in Pemex, but the company is a source of national pride and it's unlikely to be completely privatized. The Trump administration wants to end the dispute resolution panel. This arbitration panel determined whether a NAFTA country treated their overseas investments unfairly. The Trump administration claimed it erodes the sovereignty of United States courts, but Mexico and Canada want to keep it. In the past, Trump said he would like Mexico to end its value-added tax on United States companies. Trump claims that the VAT acts as a tax on the United States exports to Mexico. A VAT tax is like a federal sales tax that's imposed on all companies in the supply chain. Mexico charges a 16% VAT tax on all the business sales, whether it's to other firms or the consumer. When companies export the finished product to the United States, Mexico rebates the VAT tax, but United States companies that export to Mexico must pay the VAT tax. Trump says that encourages the United States companies to build factories in Mexico to receive the rebates and avoid the tax. Trump has asked Mexico to end the Maquiladora program. This program allows United States companies to set up low-cost factories across the border in Mexico to assemble finished products. They then export the goods back to the United States. As a result, maquiladoras became responsible for 65% of Mexico exports and employ 30% of Mexico workforce. That undercut American workers and sent jobs to Mexico. NAFTA expanded the maquiladora program by ending tariffs. Mexico has asked the United States to allow its trucks on United States roads. That was promised in the first NAFTA agreement but withdrawn by the United States Congress. Mexico is also working for an anti-corruption clause. Mexico is creating a backup plan if Trump makes a good on this threat to pull out of NAFTA. It turned toward the Pacific Alliance. In 2011, the alliance created a free trade zone between Mexico, Colombia, Chile, and Peru. In 2017, 94% of all goods traded were tariff-free, which is good. Mexico and Canada both want increased access for business travels. They will ask for inclusion of gender rights in the agreement. Trump could end NAFTA by submitting a notice under the Article 2205 of the NAFTA agreement. He will have to do so 90 days before withdrawal. He may not need congressional approval to do this. Some experts refer to Section 125 of the Trade Act of 1974. It states that the President has the power to unilaterally withdraw from all trade agreements. Others refer to NAFTA's Implementation Act. They argue that Since Congress approved NAFTA, only it has the authority to withdraw. It's uncharted legal territory. Even if the United States did withdraw from NAFTA, the other two parties could retain the agreement between each other, but it will reinstate tariffs on trade between the United States and Canada and the United States and Mexico. That will raise the cost of imports from Mexico. Before NAFTA, Mexican tariffs on United States import were 2015% higher than United States tariffs on Mexico imports. Trump also threatened to impose 35% tariff on Mexican imports. By law, he can only raise tariffs by 15% for 150 days without congressional approval. Without NAFTA, Mexico and Canada will probably return to be most favored nation trade status. Canada and United States will probably reinstate their bilateral trade agreement. Exports from those countries will be assessed standard tariffs. At that point, importers will probably sue the United States government for making their costs higher overnight. In the short run, tariffs will benefit United States oil companies by raising prices on imported Mexican oil. They will also benefit United States farmers. They might restore 500,000 to 700,000 manufacturing jobs lost in California, New York, Michigan, and Texas. These are just a few of NAFTA's pros and cons. On the other hand, tariffs will raise the price of imports for American consumers. Inflation will increase as a result. Exports to both Mexico and Canada will increase. Mexico will revert to the high tariffs it had before NAFTA. Mexico is the top export destination for the United States. Ground beef, rice, soybean meal, corn sweeteners, apples and beans. It is the second largest export destination for corn, soybeans, and oils. American farmers are concerned that Trump will jeopardize their livelihood. They don't want to lose the 70.9 billion in agricultural products they export to Mexico in 2016. Their Mexican buyers are hesitating to sign long-term contracts. Instead, many are already sourcing commodities from Argentina and other Latin American countries. NAFTA quadrupled trade to 1.15 trillion as of 2015. It increased United States growth by 0.5% each year. That created 5 million new United States jobs, including 800,000 manufacturing positions. Canada and Mexico invested 200.2 billion in the United States, while United States company invested 452 billion in those countries. The United States imports to 294.7 billion from Mexico. That's almost as much as the imports from China. Any trade change will threaten the flow and price of these imports. They include oil, manufactured products, fruits, vegetables, coffee, and cotton. Similarly, 80% of Mexico exports go to the United States. United States tariffs on these exports will be very damaging on Mexico economy. Thank you.